Why, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. What? Thank you. No, no, sir, I will not have your baby. Thank you. What's up, everybody? My name is WendyLover69, and welcome back to another Wendy's review. Wendy's has always been infamous for never serving breakfast, unlike its competitors, such as McDonald's. Sorry, everybody, I had to throw up in my mouth a little bit. But yes, as we all know, Wendy's has never really partaken in the breakfast market. Very massive missed opportunity, but today, I am happy to say they have finally embarked on the breakfast quest to provide us some quality beginner meals. Before we get too far into this review though, let me real quick take off my coat and lay down some of the groundwork as to why this is super important in the restaurant industry. Now, as I was mentioning before, Wendy's has never really been a breakfast institution. It's always been a primarily lunch and dinner establishment, which has been fine by all accounts, but I won't even lie, there have been many occurrences where I feel like their priorities have been a little misplaced. I feel like there's a lot of money in the breakfast market, and it makes me very happy to see Wendy's capitalizing on that industry. Now, during my first time experience of this Wendy's, I actually did write down a good amount of notes here to discuss while we talk about this. I do want to make sure this review is as concise and appropriate as possible, so when you guys are making your breakfast decisions, you can make them appropriately. Now, I feel like a great place to start would actually be my order. So I ordered here a strawberry lemonade, which I don't normally get. This actually is not a new product by any stretch of the imagination. This is a reoccurring thing, but I was just kind of feeling weird, I won't even lie, being that one guy to like get a Sprite with a breakfast meal. I never really know what drink to get with breakfast is, because it's always like, do I go for like the apple juice and be sort of basic, or do I get something that I actually want, like a Sprite, and just seem really weird? So I ultimately decided to do a little bit of a compromise, settle in the middle, and take a little bit of a risk and get a strawberry lemonade. Now, the strawberry lemonade actually, surprisingly enough, exceeded my expectations. It really served the purpose of being refreshing but not overbearing for a morning meal, and also on top of that, the size they give you is pretty appropriate. This is a very good sized beverage, especially for someone who gets dehydrated as much as I am as I'm consuming my nutrients. So I gotta say, big fan of the strawberry lemonade. We'll definitely be coming back to this at a later date, not even just for breakfast time meals. I think it's about time we get to the meat and potatoes, quite literally, of the actual experience here. The official Wendy's breakfast. Now, you guys might be looking at me and thinking, what kind of breakfast item would he order? He definitely seems like more of like a sausage kind of guy, maybe like a biscuit kind of guy. Well, you're kind of half right, half wrong. I actually ended up getting the breakfast Baconator, which is a twist on Wendy's iconic Baconator meal. They basically took it, switched out the ingredients inside, kept the same sort of formula, but they switched it out for breakfast ingredients such as eggs, bacon, cheese. Cheese was on the original, never mind. And at its core is a sausage patty as opposed to a beef patty. Now, this pick was a surprising choice even for me, because I'm not typically a sausage kind of guy. If I had to choose a breakfast meat, I would personally go with more of a bacon. Now, while this did have bacon, mixing it with a sausage like that is just not usually, emphasis on usually, my cup of tea. However, I did enjoy this sandwich. Overall, besides a few minor gripes with it, I gotta say Wendy's has done a very good job here of providing a good tasting experience for even someone who isn't a particular fan of that particular taste. They did a great job kind of mixing things up, making it appealing for a lot of people, and even if you're not a sausage fan, I would recommend this sandwich. But before I continue on with the actual details involved with the taste of the sandwich, I do want to touch on the actual experience at Wendy's. And I'm pretty hesitant to give these gripes, considering it seems it was a very location-based gripe. I don't think this gripe is going to be something that affects you and your daily Wendy's experience, but I do have to bring it up just as a side note. I ended up going through the drive-thru, and the drive-thru line was extremely long, and it's not because they were busy, it was because they were having an issue involving the actual potatoes with these meals. For some reason, in case you guys are wondering, the new replacement to fries is actually these seasoned potato slices, which are appropriate, mind you. I think they do need some sauce, but we'll get to that later. The seasoned potato slices, they actually were having a problem involving these. I don't know exactly what the malfunction was, but while I was going through the line, the lady did mention something to me about that, and I feel like that is something to take into to note because I was in that line for an exceptional amount of time. Way too much time for a mere potato slice. Now, to me, this seems like much more of a transitional problem as opposed to like an overarching issue with the menu. I believe they're just having some issues kind of getting adjusted to the new format. Obviously, there's some new ingredients involved here. There's a lot of the process that had to be switched over when, you know, adjusting for these new products. So I think obviously just going into it, there's going to be a little bit of a transition period. There's going to be some faults here and there. And I think small things like these, while they are kind of momentous in the moment, I think can be kind of brushed under the rug for now, as long as they don't overstay their welcome. Experience aside, going back to the actual food, I gotta say the Baconator was exquisite. I don't think it is on the same level as obviously higher end breakfast places like Cracker Barrel or really just anything that's not fast food, but comparatively speaking to other fast food breakfast experiences, I do think this was an above average breakfast experience. Now keep in mind, I've only tried one breakfast menu item, but I can say with confidence so far that Wendy's does have a much better breakfast compared to McDonald's. And you guys know I don't make these ballsy claims very frequently. This is a very hot take coming from somebody who's only experienced one menu item on this new offering. Everything about this sandwich was pretty exceptional. The eggs blended well with the bacon, the cheese blended well with the eggs. Everything was kind of in a good balance there. There really wasn't any complaints in that department. What I will say, if you guys are wanting like a messiness scale, it is about as messy as a normal Baconator would be. Surprisingly enough, it wasn't just the cheese that was dripping out. There actually was some egg whites in there as well, which kind of took me by surprise. I was looking at it, I was like, wow. Wow, these egg whites are drippy, bro. They're really drippy. But you know what, man? It's about to be expected, especially considering their lunch Baconator offerings. This really isn't anything new to Baconator fans. The only legitimate problem I had with this sandwich was actually the sausage. Funny enough, and it's not because I didn't like the taste of the sausage. I touched on it earlier, but this sausage actually was fine in the grand scheme of things, especially considering I'm not the biggest sausage fan. What I didn't like about this piece of meat specifically was not because of the fact that it was sausage. It was more of a texture problem with the meat itself. To me, it was comparable to like a Salisbury steak with the level of texture and quality and just feel, you know what I mean, like overall vibe of the meat. It definitely was on that same level. It felt like ironically enough, it felt like a frozen patty, which I know are some very harsh words coming from a Wendy's lover fan, but I gotta say, it really did give me those vibes. And who knows, my taste buds may be deceiving me, as rare as that is, but it is something of note. Now, I don't know if the other meat patties maybe are better. Maybe some of the other meat offerings are a little more, you know, appropriate for Wendy's usual level of quality. But I gotta say, the sausage did give me those vibes. And while I can't 100% prove it, I will go ahead and just put it in the footnotes there for you guys' overall judgment in that department. Moving on to the final part of the meal, it is the default side, the potato slices. Now, these potato slices, I did vaguely touch on it earlier, but they were pretty good. They were pretty okay. The biggest downfall to these potato slices, in my opinion, was that it needs sauce. It really does. You would think with the seasoning and stuff, it would be, you know, okay on its own. You think it'd be all right. It'd be pretty flavorful. And while there is a touch of flavor there with the seasoning, I don't think it's enough to really justify eating these things plain. I just really don't think it's enough. I got to a point during the meal where I got so desperate, I started dipping the potato slices into the dropped cheese from the burger, because I literally, like, I needed something on there to complete the experience. And it pains me to say that. And you know, now with that being said, I believe ketchup should have been just a default inclusion with these sides. I don't think that going through the drive-thru and having to ask for a couple ketchup packets, I don't think that's acceptable, because clearly these potato slices, they really aren't that great unless you have that ketchup to go with it. I think with the ketchup it'd be a great pairing, but it's one of those things where like you have to go out of your way for it, and I think that just overall ruins the experience for those potato sliders. If they just included a couple packets, even just like 1 or 2, even though that would not be enough, but if they even just included a couple of them as a courtesy, I think that would be the best way to go about things moving forward here with those slices. And I think they should do it with their fries as well. This is not just a breakfast exclusive opinion, but what I will say is that it is much more apparent with these more potato hefty slices. In conclusion, the Wendy's breakfast menu seems to be a very appealing offering from one of the biggest fast food joints here in the United States. I'm very, very excited to see where this goes. As it stands right now, I don't think it's perfect, but I do think that it is in the top tier, top 70%, I would say, of fast food breakfast menus. It definitely is up there. It just needs a little more work, a little more improvement, and I believe that Wendy's can definitely make an impact with this. I give Wendy's breakfast menu a solid 7 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching this review. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button down below, comment, subscribe. If you guys want to see more Wendy's content from Wendy's Lover 69 in the future, be sure to go ahead and hit the bell icon as well. Why not? You're already down there, might as well. I hope you guys have a great day, and as we say here on Wendy Lover 69's channel, stay frosty. See ya.